I'm a T12 L1 paraplegic in complete injury, so I have some lower body function. Well, after I got hurt, you know, your whole life changes and you start looking around, okay, what's next? What am I going to do next? How am I going to do this? I was very fortunate in that I had a lot of support from my family. Artie's my rock. She kept everything going at home while I was in rehab, while I was learning how to function as a person again. And she dealt with the kids, the house, the bills. She took over everything so that I could learn how to live again. After I got hurt, there was all the trauma just dealing with how my body had changed. But what got me through it was my kids.
1 year after his accident, Mark competed in the Boulder and rode in the Courage Classic. This was not the type of sport Mark was looking for. Then, in 1996, Mark saw a news story on sled hockey and decided to look into it further.
There was a piece on TV showing these guys playing hockey, and then their chairs are in the background. And I thought, now that looks like fun. It's something I can get out of my chair and play a team sport again. That's what I'd missed most since I got hurt. The hockey program when I first started, it was 6 a.m. at the old Foothills Arena, one of the coldest rinks in the state, by the way, and the locker rooms are just about as cold. First time on the ice, there were probably 8 players there. And we were playing on sleds at that time, were state of the art, and they must have weighed 25 or 30 pounds. They were like tanks. But as soon as I got on the ice, I knew I'd found my game. So I got my first taste of hockey, actual game in Canada, it was quite a treat. It was a lot of fun. After that first tournament, I was hooked. I knew hockey I was going to spend a lot of time playing hockey at that point.
Mark became obsessed with sled hockey. He found himself playing 3 times a week, sometimes being the only guy on the ice. Then in 1998, Mark attended his first national team camp.
I was lucky enough to attend training camps at Lake Placid. One of my earliest memories was being able to skate on the 80 ice. That was amazing. Just to skate out there and realize what had happened in that building. Fortunately, the coaches saw something in me that I could be a good teammate, and that's all I ever tried to be, was a good teammate. And I was chosen to be on the 2000 national team. One of the best times was being on the ice in the USA jersey and the national anthem playing. And you look across and you're playing against a team from Japan. That was pretty incredible.
After returning home from Salt Lake City, Mark turned his focus into developing the Colorado Avalanche sled hockey program. So Mark and a couple of his teammates began to lay out a plan to develop the Little Avs sled hockey team. He recognized the need to begin developing younger generations of players if the sport were to survive.
An equally good moment is seeing the smile on young kids' faces when they get on the ice for the first time and they've never done anything like that before, and all of a sudden they're part of a team As we started this sled hockey program, as I became more involved, I soon realized that my niche was one-on-one. I was not going to be the fundraiser, I was not going to be the big organizer, but I realized I could help the sport one-on-one. And when we would do clinics, and I'd get on the ice with one kid, and we'd skate around, and I'd explain to him how to skate, how to use his picks. Oh, gosh. I knew that's where I could help the most.
Over the next several years, thanks to generous contributions from the Colorado Avalanche Community Fund, the youth hockey program began to flourish. Dozens of kids from all over the Front Range began skating, never leaving any shortage of smiles. One kid really stuck out in Mark's mind. Jake Sensenball was born with a disease that caused a tumor to grow throughout his body. Mark tells his story.
It's going to be tough. The most inspiring person I've ever known as part of the sled hockey team, we went around to lots of venues to introduce the game to just about anybody we could. And one of the main early spots was the wheelchair camp that's been going on for a long time. And that's where I first met Jake. Jake was an amazing person. At the time when I met him, I just thought, okay, here's another little kid coming out, giving it a try, and always had the biggest grin, always willing to work hard, just wanted to have fun. And at that time, I didn't realize what a battle he'd been through and how much of a battle the rest of his life was going to be. He is the heart and soul of the sled hockey program here in Colorado. He inspires me to this day just because he never let anything get him down, and what a fighter he is.
It is stories like Jake's that drove Mark to become the best player and mentor he could be. These kids gave him the strength to compete as a member of the adult sled hockey team. In 2010, Mark announced this would be his final season as a player. The other members of his team vowed to send Mark off on top. Opening their season, the Avalanche won the inaugural NHL Sled Classic hosted at the Pepsi Center, a tournament exclusively for teams sponsored by their NHL affiliates. As the year progressed, the Avalanche rolled through league play, securing a spot in the National Championship Tournament being held in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The team went undefeated, bringing home its first national championship. Here's Mark's explanation of how that felt.
That championship game was a tough one for me. I had every confidence that we were going to win the game, but knowing that it was my last competitive game, it was pretty hard to skate on the ice. I tried to drink in every moment. The toughest thing was in the locker room before going out, because when you hear all these guys retire, pros, amateurs, what they miss is the guys in the room. And I do miss that. It was a great game, actually. Scored a goal, had an assist. After the end of the game, we got presented the plate of national champions. We got the photos with the banner in the background. We all shook hands. I left my gloves at center ice and skated off.
Mark is truly the class of the sport. He is humble, patient, and sincere. Through all the years of playing, Mark wants to be remembered in one way.
I would like to be remembered as a good teammate, and that every time I stepped on the ice, I gave it everything I had.